One of my favorite verses is from Romans 8. The earth is standing on tiptoe, awaiting for humankind to wake up. The earth needs us to wake up. And so we live with the land and we live with the earth and we respect it because this is very, very sacred ground.
For more than a century, the Sisters of the Center for Benedictine Life at the Monastery of St. Gertrude have lived a life that enriches a deeper faith.
There's a tremendous hunger for deeper spirituality, for God, for meaning, that traditional institutions don't seem to be able to satisfy the way they once did. That Benedictine life is something that is so needed in today's world.
The Monastery of St. Gertrude is Idaho's only women's monastery. Built over 100 years ago, its Romanesque features have provided sanctuary for an order of Benedictine nuns since their early days of settling on the Camas Prairie.
We are founded from the San Andreas cloister in Switzerland, and in 1882 there was all kinds of unrest in Switzerland.
So they decided to send 3 sisters to America to establish a safe refuge. Chosen to lead them was Sister Joanna Zumstein. She spoke 4 languages, but not English. But they needed her brains and her facility for languages.
So they came by ship, they came by train, ended up over in Western Oregon originally.
They buy a beat-up butcher shop, the roof leaks, they're sleeping on the floor, suffering from typhoid fever, and 2 years go by. They go to Uniontown, Washington. They build a convent there. There's a school on the main floor. They're living on the next 2 floors. More girls are joining. And in 10 years, it's too full. So they move 3 miles away to Colton, Washington, build St. Scholastica's Academy. In 10 years, it's too full.
And apparently a Catholic farmer offered the sisters land in Cottonwood, Idaho, if they would come and teach in local schools.
The real hook was that John and Gertrude Uhlenkott realized that the sisters provide the infrastructure of a place, the free labor, the free teaching. So they said, you know, if you come to Cottonwood, we'll give you 85 free acres.
So they did that. They came over here in 1907, and initially it was a white kind of, frame wood house.
And then Mother Johanna dies. So they sell the Colton convent and they all come to St. Gertrude's, which makes this too small. They meanwhile built the monastery that's here today, starting in 1919, finishing it in 1924.
And it was actually quarried from blue porphyry rock from up on our hill.
And it's pre-Jurassic in age. We realized that we have this vein that came out of Africa that popped up on our hill. And you're not going to find that anywhere else in the United States, which makes it even more unique here.
There wasn't much of it, which is why the 4th floor of the monastery is sited.
And it's this is a good German-Swiss thing, it's very stable and very well built, and it will last forever.
The monastery is named for St. Gertrude the Great, a 13th century German mystic. She's known for her deep spiritual insights and theological revelations. Like St. Gertrude, the sisters at the monastery are followers of the Order of St. Benedict.
The sense that there must be a deeper relationship with God, that's exactly what Benedict was about when he started, and I think that's exactly what he's about today.
In the 5th century, Benedict had been a hermit who was born of a Roman nobleman. For 3 years, he lived in a cave, or holy grotto, in the mountains of Subiaco. There, people who were drawn to his sanctity sought his guidance. He wrote The Rule of Benedict, a book describing a way of life that practices common sense, moderation, prayer, work, hospitality, and community life. And it's through their commitment to community that the sisters have made their greatest contribution to our state.
We staffed grade schools all over Idaho, Washington. The high school that's now the public high school next door was our academy.
They try to teach about tolerance, how immigrants have really changed this landscape.
I liked teaching junior English because it was American literature, and it gave me a chance to develop writing skills with the students. I loved seeing the lights come on when somebody got it. Also the relationship. That's kind of the fun part of still being in Idaho and being accessible to former students, that they stop in and say hi, and it's just fun to connect with them.
Education is very important here. Most of us have master's degrees plus, because to be qualified to do what we're doing is extremely important.
There isn't a hospital between Lewiston and Boise. It's a 300-mile healthcare desert. So they opened the hospital here at Cottonwood. And we're such a small town, but we've always had great services thanks to the sisters.
In reverence to the past, the Center for Benedictine Life is also home to a history museum, which was founded by Sister Alfreda as a result of providing an education to her students.
Sister Alfreda was a biology teacher, and she starts collecting things to teach her students. She's picking up roadkill and doing taxidermy with her students, collecting bugs and insects, and then just any artifacts. And in 1931, she has a pretty great museum in the attic of the first convent. And we've made a reproduction of that attic here with the things she collected in 1931. And my favorite is this gramophone. This museum is the oldest museum in Idaho, and we are telling stories rather than just showing artifacts. We have Lad Arnaudy, who the sisters sponsored. He was born in Hungary. He came from war-torn Germany with his family. He and his mother crossed Russian lines to escape Hungary as Russian troops advanced. And everything they owned is in the trunk we have on exhibit in the museum. In Thanksgiving, he painted a picture of the Virgin Mary that hangs in our chapel balcony. He becomes a photographer in Cottonwood for 40 years, and then he becomes our mayor. It's just nice to see who the personalities are and how much immigrants shaped this area.
To help maintain the costs of running the museum, visitors can purchase sustainable goods made by the sisters.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Here in the gift shop, Sister Carlotta, she is an herbalist. She makes soaps and salves, lip balms, teas. It's just such a joint effort here.
I do enjoy doing it, and when I'm doing it, I think about the people who are going to be using this soap, and depending on what soap they say they love, when I'm making that particular soap, I think of those people. It feels good to make it. I had this feeling that I wanted to help people, but I wanted to do it natural. And when I came up here, this one sister, I was talking with her, and she was talking to me about the herbs, and who knew that a dandelion in your lawn is medicinal? It just amazed me that I could walk up the hill, or I can walk around and see something and okay, that's an herb, that heals. Most of the time we're trying to kill it, but it heals. That's when I decided to join this community, because they were a lot about the earth, and I love the earth, I love nature.
I always like to see nature as a carrier. Every leaf, every blade of grass has a spark of divine. And if people could just get outside and be more in touch with nature and ourselves, because I think we forget the fact that we are made out of dust, and to dust we shall return.
As Benedictines have done for centuries, the sisters evoke their faith through prayer, a daily practice that enlightens their experience of the Christian mystery.
Prayer is extremely important to us. And we pray for the nation, we pray for the people, we pray for the world. And every single day you can hear our petitions along with our prayer.
We come together 3 times a day, and it's a time to start over, to say, this is what we're here for.
Benedict calls this way of life the school of the Lord's service. We never have it all together. We're still learning. So I think living with a bunch of people is a constant learning process. It's not just, dance down primrose path, No, it's plain hard work, like marriages.
And, you do what community needs. So it's kind of a slow way of chipping away for all of us at, our self-centeredness, our egocentricity. And so the challenge is to be awake to that, to be aware, and the daily monastic life is an ongoing opportunity to do that. And that's an incredible gift.
My motto every day is I wake up and I look for love. And if I look for love, I'm going to find God. And I can find God in every human being, every blade of grass, every leaf, I can find God.
In celebration of that which is sacred, the Center for Benedictine Life on occasion hosts concerts in the chapel of the monastery.
The sisters, they nurture the whole human spirit. They love to, have things that build joy in your soul. And as Mozart said, music is for the glory of God.